As we saw with Ho-Oh, the combination of fire and flying types together really does well in Generation 2, and now it's time to see how well Moltres does. A couple of years ago, we ran 2 of the 3 legendary birds in the Just the Battles series, but a combination of illness and burnout meant that we weren't able to complete the trio back then. But now they're getting their chance on the main leaderboard, and we're starting with the one that we didn't do in the first series, and that is Moltres. I've got high hopes for this fire-flying bird. I think it's going to do incredibly well throughout the course of its challenge run. I'm not quite sure it will make Ho-Oh levels of time, but we're going to give it our best shot regardless. And before we give it our best shots, we're going to take a look at our all-important stats. We are, of course, level 5, this time with 25 HP. We're holding a berry, and we have Wing Attack and Ember straight off the bat. 16 in attack, 15 in defense, 19 in special attack, 15 in special defense, and 15 also in speed. So we're starting with 2 very strong stab moves for this point in the game. And not only that, we've got 100 in attack and 125 in special attack, and this poor Pidgey didn't know what hit it. It was just one shot to knock it out, and here comes the first rival battle. We've got Wing Attack, the rival's going to have Totodile. This is going to be absolutely trivial. 2 shots takes care of the rival for the first time, and we can move on towards our first gym together. This is, of course, Falkner's flying type gym, and he's going to lead with Pidgey. Now, normally when we've got the fire type, we have to worry about Mudslap, but because we've got the flying type, this is going to be an absolute breeze. 2 one-shots takes care of Falkner, and we get through in a time of 6 minutes and 12 seconds. But we have already done the Sprout Tower. Let's now move on to Bugsy, another very trivial gym battle for this point in the challenge. It's one shot on Metapod, it's going to be one shot on Kakuna. The question is, can we one-shot the Scyther? He gets a little bit of damage off us on Quick Attack, but we do one-shot it, and we are through Bugsy in a time of 10 minutes and 42 seconds. It was just 4.5 minutes between getting the Zephyr badge and getting the Hive badge. Let's keep these celebrations up, because I don't think Rival 2 is going to be any issue whatsoever. He'll have a Croconaw at this point, but Croconaw has incredibly bad special attack, so that means that a water gun will barely tickle us. We're still comfortably in the green as the Zubat comes out. We'll one-shot that with Wing Attack, and we are through the second rival battle in 11 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's see if we can keep this pace up against Whitney. She is arguably one of the harder gym leaders because she's got Rollout on her Miltank, but we've got to get through the Clefairy first. It was 2 shots and we missed a Supersonic there. We're going to Mudslap the cow as she commits to Rollout, and unfortunately for us, she hit every single one of her Rollout. That was incredibly unlucky for Moltres here. We're going to have to try again. This time Clefairy gets stab cut of all things through Metronome. We're going to use the same strategy, but this time we'll lower the accuracy twice. She commits to Rollout once again because it's still the highest damage move. This time Rollout misses when it needs to, and we get through Whitney on our second attempt in a time of 15 minutes and 59 seconds. Just the one reset at Whitney. I'm not going to complain at that. We were 4 times weak to the rock type, of course. Let's now see how we get on at rival number 3. He's going to lead with Haunter, and Haunter doesn't get a chance to swear at us. Here comes Croconaw once more, and yet again it's going to be a 2-shot, but Water Gun seems to do even less damage than the last time. We'll Ember the Magnemite, and he's only got a Zubat left to go. It's going to be a one-shot with Wing Attack on the Zubat, and we are through the rival for the 3rd time in 18 minutes and 30 seconds. Let's now fall through the floor and make our way into Morty's gym. He's our dual-type Ghost and Poison Spectacular gym leader, and he's going to lead with Ghastly. We did pick up the Minceberry for this battle, just in case of pesky Gengar hypnosing ways, and we'll have to see if that happens. It does happen, so the Minceberry was worth it. We grow to level 28, and there's only 1 Pokemon left to go. We finish it off with a single Wing Attack, and that's the Fog Badge in 21 minutes and 40 seconds. Our next gym leader is Chuck. He's the fighting type specialist of Cyanwood Gym, and he's going to lead with Primeape. It's going to be a one-shot with Wing Attack on the Primeape. The question is it going to be a one-shot on Poliwrath? And the answer is no. We take a little bit of damage from Surf, but not enough to be in any danger of being knocked out, and that's the Storm Badge in 25 minutes and 50 seconds. We're a fire type, so it makes sense to do Jasmine as our 6th gym leader. She is, of course, a steel type specialist who leads with Magnemite. Magnemite's going to be easy. It's going to be a one-shot with Ember, so we can get rid of both of those, and we can turn our attention to Steelix. It's going to be a 2-shot with Ember. Rock Throw misses, thank goodness, and that means we get through on our very first attempt. Quite a lot of luck went into defeating Jasmine there, but we're not going to complain. Mineral Badge in 27 minutes, 52 seconds. Our penultimate Jotonian gym leader is Price, the Ice-type specialist who leads with Seal. It's a one-shot on Seal with Wing Attack. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Dugong with Wing Attack. Aurora Beam's debuff doesn't come into play, and that means that the Swine is going to be easy street. We'll start off with a wing attack and we'll finish it off with Ember to make sure that Price doesn't get in a healing loop, and that's our 7th badge in a time of 33 minutes and 29 seconds. We've got some rocket shenanigans to deal with now, and in the middle of those we get ambushed by the rival for the 4th time. Let's see how we get on in battle against him. He's going to lead with Golbat. We've got Hidden Power Ice on the Learn set in preparation for the Claire fights, but we'll take advantage and use it against the Golbat. We are now in 3 shots range for the Feraligatr, but we do get a high roll on turn number 2. We mud slap the Magnemites because that's still on our Learn sets for no good reason. We'll swap back to Wing Attack for the Haunter, and the final Pokemon is Sneasel Pleasel. It's going to be a 2 shots regardless with Wing Attack or Ember, so we'll use a pair of Wing Attacks to knock it out, and we say goodbye to the rival in 40 minutes and 18 seconds. Our final Jotonian gym leader is Claire. She's the Dragon-type specialist who leads with Dragonair. We're going to use Sunny Day on turn number 1 to try and set up. Fortunately for us, Dragonair didn't use any kind of Thunder Waving move. That means we're going to be saving our Paralyzed Cure Berry for later on in the challenge. That is always very, very good to have. The sun is still up as the Kingdra comes out, so we're going to start off with a Wing Attack on turn number 1. Surf deals a little bit of damage, and we knock it out on turn number 2, and we get through Claire and gets her badge in a time of 47 minutes and 3 seconds. This is a very, very good time so far. Considering that we've still got Ember on the Learn set, our level 1 move, I think Moltres is doing incredibly well. We'll see how we get on against the final rival battle. It's a 1-shot on Sneasel this time. Exactly the same scenario happens against the Feraligatr. We low roll turn 1, high roll turn 2 to knock it out in 2. Magneton comes out to play next, and that's going to be a simple 1-shot even with Ember. That brings us very nicely onto his penultimate Pokemon Haunter. It's going to be a 1-shot with Wing Attack, and then he's only got a Kadabra left. Kadabra has no defenses whatsoever, so we knock it out with a single Wing Attack as well, and we defeat the rival for the last time in 50 minutes and 31 seconds. And now we're at the Pokemon League, so we'll heal up our Moltres whether we need to or not, and we'll say thank you to the HM friends. So it's a big thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck, and merci to Paris. You will take a lovely holiday in the Costa del PC box as Moltres prepares to take on the Pokemon League. And in order to take on the league, we need to look at our stats. We're level 47 with 169 HP, holding the Cure Berry with Wing Attack, Ember, Hidden Power, and Sunny Day. 134 in attack, 117 in defense, 155 in special attack, and 118 in both speed and special defense. Those, of course, are the out of battle stats. We get a big buff in battle, as we'll see now against Will. He's our first league member, and he's going to lead with Xatu. Hidden Power Ice is simply a 1-shot on the Xatu, so he sends out Slowbro. We're going to use Wing Attack against the Slowbro, and it's looking like it's going to be a 3-shot. Fortunately, this Slowbro didn't try to attack us at all, and that brings us very nicely onto Xatu number 2. It's another 1-shot with Hidden Power Ice to save the day, and then we're going to use Hidden Power Ice yet again against Executor. There's only one Pokemon left now, and that is Jinx with her paper thin defenses. We knock her out in 1, and that's Will all done in 51-41. Let's now move on to Koga, the Poison-type specialist who leads with Ariados. And I'm fairly certain this will be one of the more simple battles we'll see throughout the entire challenge. Koga really doesn't have anything too great for us at all. The best Pokemon is his Muck, but that was a 3-shot with Wing Attack, and here comes Crobat. Crobat's instantly going to get caught in a healing loop, and providing both our Hidden Power Ices hit, we know we don't have to worry about it. Both of Koga's remaining Pokemon are weak to one of our attacking types, so it's goodbye to Venomoth with Wing Attack, and it's goodbye to Fortress with Ember. A very simple Koga fight to get through him in a time of 51 minutes and 21 seconds. Let's see how we get on against Bruno. He's the fighting type specialist who leads with Hitmontop. Hitmontop's going to be one of very few Pokemon who's actually able to damage us here. We finally learn Flamethrower, so it's goodbye to Ember after 44 levels, and in its place we get a much better move. It's going to be a 1-shot on Onix, it's also going to be a 1-shot on Hitmonchan, but we do need to worry a little bit about this Machamp. Machamp can hit us very hard with Rock Slide, and that's exactly what happens. Fortunately though, we survive on 17 HP, and that is more than enough to see us through the rest of this battle unscathed. The end of that battle was a little bit scary, but we did defeat Bruno in 53-05. Let's see how we do against Karen the Momentum Killer, who leads with Umbreon. We try the HP up strategy, but it doesn't quite work out. And then the Gengar throws a huge spanner in the works. by using its very low chance of lick. So we had the 10% chance of lick, and then the chance of paralysis on top of that, and I really should have taken a reset, because now the battle is turning out of our favour. We have nothing that we can do at this point to get through. We're fully paralysed and we take a reset. That was just some incredibly duff luck, but I'm sure we'll make up for it on attempt number 2. We burn the Umbreon and knock it out in 2, but our accuracy is lowered once more, and this time, instead of being paralysed, we are cursed, and that means we're on a timer for the rest of this battle. That in and of itself wouldn't be too significant. However, we missed twice in a row against the Houndoom, and we have to take yet another reset. The RNG is just not falling in our favour in this battle. This time Umbreon goes for Feint Attack, which is one of the things the HP up strategy tries to ensure, and we get a much better chance now of getting through to the end of Karen. I really didn't think she'd be this much of a sticking point. However, we can't quite afford to be able to miss moves with Moltres because we're in 2 or 3 shot range for a lot of Pokemon. And then even when we're bound to win this battle, she still manages to get a Spadef drop. We do get through Karen though in a time of 54 minutes and 53 seconds, and now there's only one obstacle between us and the Hall of Fame. It's time for Lance the Liar with the Flyers, and he's going to lead, of course, with Gyarados. Now we're going to take advantage of Gyarados' AI here because he's always going to go for Rain Dance on turn 1, and that means we can comfortably 2-shot it. We've got Hidden Power Ice for the Dragonite, so it's a simple 1-shot on that first Dragonite. Dragonite number 2 comes out, and it's going to be another simple 1-shot, and here comes Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl is the scariest Pokemon. Rock Slide hits like an absolute truck, but because we outspeed the Aerodactyl, we only get hit once, and it's easy streets from here. Wing Attack's barely going to tickle us with Charizard as we knock it out in 2. We'll swap back to Hidden Power Ice for the Dragonite, and we will defeat Lance in a time of 55 minutes and 48 seconds. We have another sub 1 hour league. Let's get our final Hall of Fame time, and it is 56 minutes and 4 seconds. Even with its couple of tricky battles, Moltres is doing incredibly well so far. This is only half of the story though. We've got another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere because Kanto is next. And we rejoin the action here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We're going to grab another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag for yet another challenge, I am very pleased to announce that Moltres is more than capable of taking on our standard Cantonian routing. That means we'll start with Lieutenant Surge, we'll pop to Celadon City for Erica, cycle down to Fuchsia City for Janine, we'll take on Sabrina, then Misty, and finish off with Brock, Blaine, and Blue. And of course, for those of you who wish to skip ahead to the blue fight, it's going to be happening at 15 minutes and 50 seconds. But if you do want to stick with me, we are of course now going to sit down, relax, and have our regular Cantonian chat. And in this particular chat, I want to have a little talk about what's coming up in the next couple of months. We're actually going into a very legendary heavy set of videos here on the channel together. We didn't do any legends for the first 2/3 of the leaderboard, and that was kind of a conscious choice. Because firstly, as we've spoken about here on the channel before, I wasn't quite sure whether to keep them on the main leaderboard or whether to split them off into a secondary leaderboard, and I think I've come to a decision with that. We're going to keep them on the main leaderboard for now, and then when we eventually get every single challenge completed, what we'll do is we'll have one leaderboard with the legendaries on and one leaderboard without the legendaries on to see just how well and in balance some of the legendaries are. Because honestly, I don't think every single legendary is going to make it into the top 10. They'll all probably be top 30 or so, but I think the learn set and the slow experience group for the legendaries will definitely slow them down. And when it comes to the mythicals, Mew and Celebi, yes, they have a quicker level up group, but their learn sets are still just as bad. And from memory, I think the Psychic Grass type that Celebi is means it has more weaknesses than any other Pokemon available in Generation 2, barring the Execute line, which has the same type combination. So Celebi's going to be a really tricky one, especially at the start of the challenge, when of course we have to face Falkner and Bugsy, both of which are going to have the type advantage over us. But we shall cross that bridge when we come to it, and I'm also very pleased to say that we're bringing in some legendary backports as well. In November we're going to be doing the Weather Trio from Generation 3, and please do excuse my pronunciation of these Pokemon, but that means we're going to start off with Kyogre, then we're going to move on to Groudon, and we'll finish off with Rayquaza, all throughout the course of November. And I'm going to be honest with you all, the main reason I'm doing that is because those 3 Pokemon are incredibly popular, and this November to December period is where YouTube gets its most traffic, so it makes sense to do a lot of the more popular Pokemon at this point in the year, and then in the new year in January we can turn our attention to some of the less popular and more obscure Pokemon. That won't just be for the main series leaderboard as well, because I've already started making up some backports of Pokemon that I think need a little bit more love and attention. And I can think of 3 Pokemon off the top of my head that we're going to be running around about January, February here together on the channel. One of them is going to be Crawdaunt. We're going to be running that in tandem with Kingler's Redo. I think Kingler is more than ready for its Redo here together on the channel, so I think that one's going to be an incredibly fun one. We're going to do Farfetch'd's Redo alongside Chatot, and then we're going to do Quagsire's Redo alongside Whiscash. So I've tried to pair up already existing Pokemon in the game with Pokemon that I think are rough equivalents from later generations, so please do let me know down in the comments below if you think that's a good idea. I really like the idea of pairing together similar Pokemon from different generations and seeing just how much of a difference having a different learn set and different stats of course will make to the challenge time. But now it is time to rejoin the action here against Blue. He's our final gym leader of the challenge and he's going to lead with Pidgeot. We've still got Hidden Power Ice on the learn set, so we're going to use it and we take it deep into the red. 2 shots knocks it out and the next Pokemon is Rhydon. We're going to continue Hidden Power Ice and thank goodness it's a 1-shot. Rhydon could have been very dangerous there. We get into a bit of a weather war against this Gyarados. We don't have anything too great for it either. We're going to use Wing Attack as he uses Hyper Beam, but he's still going to get caught in a bit of a healing loop. It's going to be a 3-shot though, and that could mean that we are in danger of getting knocked out, especially as he uses another full restore, and that means we're going to have to waste a turn using Sunny Day. We use Wing Attack twice more, and we eventually do knock it out, and we get to see how the rest of this battle will pan out. We'll use Flamethrower against the Alakazam because it's Sunny Day boosted to guarantee the 1-shot. Arcanine's next and we're going to use Flamethrower because that's our highest damage output, but of course that Arcanine has extreme speed and knocks us out. I'm always at loath to hold the leftovers until I absolutely have to because it slows down the battle. However, in challenges I recorded after Moltres, I've definitely started holding the leftovers if I'm not 100% sure we're going to get through Blue without them. Let's see how much of a difference the leftovers make. This time we use Sunny Day on turn number 1 against the Gyarados, and this time we're going to use Flamethrower. It's still going to be a 3-shot regardless, but Gyarados does not get caught in a healing loop thanks to Hyper Beam. Turn order really did us a favour there, and if we had done that strategy in battle number 1, we probably wouldn't have needed the leftovers after all. We'll use Wing Attack against the Arcanine on turn 1. This time the sun has faded, he goes into extreme speed, but that doesn't matter for us. We're just going to keep on Wing Attacking. We can heal up much more than we need to for the rest of this battle, so we just need to dig our heals in a little bit and wait for this Arcanine to go down. We're going to be in red health by the time the Arcanine gets knocked out, but the final Pokemon of course is Exeggutor. Exeggutor's going to go down to a single Flamethrower and we can defeat Blue on our second attempt in a time of 1 hour 12 minutes and 36 seconds. And with that, there's only one more battle left to go. So let's now make our way into Silver Cave where Red is waiting for us. He is of course the final battle of the challenge and he's going to lead with a very pesky Pikachu. And the first thing to note is that we don't outspeed the Pikachu at level 59. We got 2 red at a very low level, but that does mean we have to do a charm dodge. We're going to get some intelligence on this particular battle, so we're not really caring too much about charm. It's inevitable we'll have to use a rare candy or 2 anyway, so we're just going to see how much damage the Blastoise does. And honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So let's now take our first reset and use our first set of 3 rare candies. That's going to get us up to level 62, and let's see how we get on against Red now. We outspeed the Pikachu and we knock it out in 1 with Flamethrower, so Pikachu is now irrelevant, and we can get on to the Weather Wars against the Blastoise. And I'm going to be honest with you all here, I decided to take a reset on purpose. We're going to be teaching Return in place of Hidden Power Ice. Hidden Power Ice has more than served its purpose. And we're also going to be teaching Swagger in place of Wing Attack. Wing Attack is surplus to requirements at this point, and Swagger is going to be a much better move. We're also going to use another 3 rare candies to get ourselves up to level 65, and now this time we're going to set up against the Pikachu. We know it's a one-shot with Flamethrower even without the sun, but that does give us a chance to hit the Blastoise. Swagger hits, but he does manage to break through the confusion, and that means we're going to have to set up the weather once more. We burn the Blastoise, but he snaps out of confusion, so we're going to have to Swagger again. He's now at +4 attack, but it seems like this Blastoise has own tempo of all things. There's just absolutely nothing we can do to get it to hit itself, so we're going to use another 4 rare candies and make our way up to level 69. Will this be a nice battle? We shall have to see. Pikachu hurts itself in confusion, so we use Sunny Day and it knocks itself out. You know what, I think that might be the first time that Pikachu has ever knocked itself out without us dealing direct damage to it. That could be a good omen for the rest of this battle. Blastoise goes down and we are still at full health, and here comes Espeon. Espeon can be incredibly pesky, but we knock it out in a single Flamethrower. Here comes the big gun of this battle. Snorlax is going to be dangerous. It hits itself in confusion once, we set up the sun, and it hits itself for a second time. And then we have a horrific misclick. I clicked Swagger instead of Flamethrower. That means that Snorlax has an Amnesia up and its Body Slam is going to hit like a truck. We managed to get a very lucky crit though, and we knock it out, and that just leaves Charizard and Venusaur left to go. We're both using Sun Boosted Flamethrower against each other, but we're doing a lot more damage than Charizard is. We can finish it off with a single return, and that just leaves the Venusaur left. Venusaur normally takes 2 turns to attack, so it's all over barring the singing for red. As we take it deep into the red on turn 1, we knock it out on turn 2, and we defeat red in a time of 1 hour, 18 minutes and 43 seconds. And yet another sub 120 run. We really are setting a new standard for the leaderboard here, being sub 120, and that puts Moltres in a very respectable 7th place. And I think being nestled in between Ursaring and Lapras is probably about suitable for Moltres. That puts Porygon 2, a former champion, in the page 1 drop zone, and heading up page 2 is Poliwrath. Down at the other end of page 2, Golem had better watch out because it's now precariously balanced in the page 2 drop zone, and heading up page 3 is Sandslash. Sandslash had a very good challenge, but of course it had an awful lot of terrible luck going against it. In the page 3 drop zone is a truly awful Electrode, and now we're slowly filling up page 4, where we see Fortress at the top, and still it's poor Shuckle right down there at the bitty bottom of the leaderboard. But with that, we are done. So if you have enjoyed this challenge, please do make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more just like this, then click the subscribe button. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. And until next time when we're running Venusaur through Pokemon Emerald, I'll say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very, very soon.